Inside the Republican Party, as you know, President Obama and the Republicans are battling it out over the debt ceiling. That battle is party to party. But former Senator Rick Santorum sees a problem with his own party. The Republican senator is accusing Minority Leader Mitch McConnell of punting to President Obama. Now, what does he mean by that? Joining us is Republican presidential contender, former Senator Rick Santorum from the state of New Hampshire, I might add. Good evening, sir.
How you doing, Greta? Thanks for having me on.
Very well. All right. You have said, if I get this right, that you oppose Senator McConnell's proposal on this debt ceiling and that it is punting to the president. Explain.
Yeah, you don't give someone who's fumbling the ball in leadership, you don't give them the ball to run with it. The bottom line is the president has abdicated his responsibility in leading this country through this very difficult debt crisis that he has in large part created. And you don't then turn around and hand him the ball to run with, particularly when you're trying to compete with him on message. The Republican message has to be clear. That this is the president has not led, and we are prepared to lead. And where we're going to lead is to cut, cap, and balance. And as you know, I've said repeatedly that the most important of those three things is balance. We can cut temporarily, that's a good short-term fix. Capping, is a good idea for the intermediate term. But ultimately, what needs to be done if we're going to solve this problem, and you had Mike Lee on earlier to talk about this, we must balance the budget and through a balanced budget amendment. That's the only way Washington is going to work.
All right, you know Senator McConnell very well,
Yep.
And what is your theory behind, I mean, you obviously have a very different view of this than he does. Why would he make this proposal, do you think, to the president? Because he's not typically someone who would just sort of punt to the president. He's a rather strong advocate.
I think that what I see going on is a fear that we are going to lose the public battle on the debate, that we won't be able to match President Obama and the rest of the media's pointing the finger at Republicans. So this is a way of ducking and pointing the finger back at President Obama. I think this is too important a debate to play politics with it. This is a debate that we have to be very principled on. We have to be very direct with the American public, talk to them about the magnitude of this problem, talk about the ugly politics that this president is playing, and threatening Social Security checks and veterans benefits and other things. That's just absolutely absurd. The bottom line is that we can solve this problem if we had leadership. Republicans are going to try to provide that leadership with a very clear, direct message, and I think everything else is off message and is not helping the situation.
All right, if there is no deal that's made and we hit that ceiling on August 2nd, are you saying that the president is wrong when he says that there are Social Security checks at risk and veterans benefits? Are you saying that he's wrong about that? He's going to go find the money someplace else?
Yeah, well, there's money coming in to pay for a lot of government, just not all of it. And for the president to selectively pick out popular programs and say that these are the programs that aren't going to be funded is a political decision on the part of the president. It's not a financial decision. This is from the same president, Greta, who says that there is no problem with Social Security because there's money in the Social Security Trust Fund. Well, if there's money in the Social Security Trust Fund that doesn't require anything other than for the government to pay it, then pay the benefits. It shows the actual hypocrisy of this president who says there's no problem with Social Security and then says there won't be any Social Security checks because the government doesn't have enough money. Well, if there's money in the trust fund, there's enough money coming in Social Security benefits in revenues to pay the benefits, then we shouldn't have a problem. We do have a problem, and he's playing politics on both sides in this case.
Is it? I mean, it seems to me that the disagreement here is really one predominantly of ideology. I mean, there's a huge thing. It's not that people are trying to cheat the American people or be cruel to the American people, but that the Republicans and Democrats see this very differently. And I guess I'm having a hard time understanding is that in order for both of you to sort of come off your positions, Republicans and Democrats, to work something out, in some ways may run the risk that you abandon your principles, which is a problem. So we'll never get anything solved.
Yeah, I think the principle from my perspective is I'm for a balanced budget amendment. We can compromise on what that balanced budget amendment looks like. But the principle to...
Give me an idea. Give me an idea.
For example, Mike Lee's proposal says that GDP, the gross domestic product, the percentage that government can spend out of the total GDP is 18%. Well, we can go to 18.5%. Maybe that's a compromise the Democrats can live with. Or maybe even a little higher. The House is thinking about going higher than that. So, I mean, there are things that we can do within the balanced budget debate to be able to get this ball across. We did it, as you remember, Greta, when I was in the Senate, I negotiated welfare reform. The non-negotiables that we would end welfare as we know it by requiring work and putting a time limit on welfare. Everything else, transportation funds to help people get to work, child care, we negotiated on that. And by the way, we got half the Democratic caucus to join us. But we stayed true to the principle. And the principle here is balancing the budget with limited government. And if we stay in the area of less than 20%, we're going to be in the area where things like Obamacare can never happen, because you can't keep the government at under 20% of GDP and provide everybody's health care through the government. Those are the kinds of things that we're fighting for, which is freedom and limited government, and there is a negotiating room in the balanced budget amendment to do that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because frankly, I don't see a resolution. Although, you know, when we come up against these deadlines, we usually figure out something as a nation, but it certainly looks ugly and looks very divided tonight. But we have a couple days, I guess. Senator, thank you, sir. Enjoy the great state of New Hampshire.
I sure am. Thank you very much, Greta.
Straight ahead, Charlie Sheen. Well,